have X-ray vision. Big Ben is the name of the bell that lives inside that tower. That tower is called the Elizabeth Tower. Shock, plot, twist. Only renamed in 2012. Until then, it was always just the clock tower. But don't worry, we all do just call it Big Ben. Shameless promotion time. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my employer. Looming all majestic and pink. That is the lastminute.com London Eye. The reason we are all here today, my reason for living, literally they pay me. Standing at 135 meters. It's going to be one of those cruises. That makes it the tallest cantilevered observation wheel. You don't use the F word here, that is not a Ferris wheel. It was designed by a husband and wife architect team, David Marks and Julia Barfield. Entered a competition in a Sunday newspaper to design a new London landmark, and that is what they came up with. Didn't win, came second. But British Airways loved the idea so much they ended up paying for it. £75 million at London Eye cost. Hello, lower deck. That wind is doing a number on my hair. I'm staying down here where it's warm. We have 32 pods up there on the London Eye. That is one for every borough or district here in London. Please don't freak out if you find yourself at number 33. For superstitious reasons, we skipped out on number 13. We did not think that tourists would be keen to jump on number 13 and then ride 135 metres up into the air. So we just left it. The London Eye is, of course, spectacular on New Year's Eve. If anyone's going, do not stand behind the wheel, though. I made that mistake 2 years running. The smoke from the fireworks gets in your face. You don't see it. People pay so much. In front of us here, we have the newest bridges of the river. They're called the Golden Jubilee bridges. They run into Charing Cross Station now on the left. And I'm only bringing this up because I get asked at least twice a day if that building is MI5 or MI6. Nope, it's the back end of the train station. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I think it was in a James Bond film, I don't know why, but it's coming up. I'm going to ask you to look over to your right. There is a beautiful little pub over there. So it's got bright red windows, there's a couple of strings of lights outside, and it is a Friday night, so it should be absolutely heaving at the moment. They've actually got a second bar they take outside, it is that popular. Now, this pub is called The Anchor. Back in Shakespeare's day, it was known as the Bankside Tavern. It's one of our oldest Thameside pubs. It dates back to 1615 in its current incarnation, but we've had a pub standing over there for more than 800 years now, so yeah, its clientele has been pretty legendary. Shakespeare and his actors drank over there, Dr. Johnson, who wrote the dictionary, Samuel Pepys watched the Great Fire of London from inside that pub, wrote about it in his diary. Charles Dickens was a regular in the Anchor in the 1800s. I drink over there sometimes. It's a lovely pub. It is expensive because it is famous, but it is worth it for the fish and chips. Award-winning, massive portions. Mind you, I talk about that pub 7 times a day, every day, and they've never given me so much as a free glass of wine. Probably stop giving them publicity. Right, you really have to look to see this, but there is a pirate ship coming up on our right when we're through this next bridge. It's wedged between a couple of sadly coloured buildings. It's got scaffolding around it. Buried in the dark, but I think it's worth pointing out. So this pirate ship is a replica of Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind, which he sailed all the way around the world in 1577. Very first Englishman who managed that. And when Sir Francis came back, he brought with him £25 million worth of treasure, all stolen from Spanish and Portuguese territories in the Caribbean, hence pirate ship. We did not arrest him for being a pirate though. Of course we didn't. This is England. We gave him a knighthood instead. And that money paid off our national debt 3 times over, so the Queen was delighted with him. But they do have a wonderful museum on board that replica and one of the best escape rooms I have ever done. The ceilings are incredibly low, but it is worth it. Well, this bridge here, this incredibly boring slab of grey concrete we're about to go through, I present to you the world-famous London Bridge. I I know. A lot of people think the next bridge along, the pretty one with the towers, is London Bridge. Nope, that is Tower Bridge. The key is in the name. It has towers. This is London Bridge right here. I mean, if you don't believe me, look to your left-hand side as we go through. They literally put the writing on the wall for you there. HMS Belfast. She was our largest cruiser during World War II. She's 11,500 tons, and her career has been legendary. So, she fired some of the first shots at the D-Day landings. She sank Hitler's favourite battleship, the Scharnhorst. She was in the Russian convoys, the Arctic convoys. She fought in the Korean War, and apparently she could still fight today. She's supposed to be battle ready in 72 hours, and those guns at the front there, they can fire up to 12 miles. They could hit Croydon from here. I'm not saying they should, but they could, which is funny if you've been to Croydon. It looked like she'd be sold for scrap metal, but she got rescued. The Imperial War Museum bought her for £1, turned her into a floating museum. It is all access on that ship. It is one of the best days out you'll have in London. I promise you, they let you go everywhere. It is totally self-guided. If you've got kids, or you are a kid, or you're a teacher, they do school sleepovers on that ship. They call it Kip on the Ship. They let your children sleep in the sailors' quarters. They will let your kids fire those guns. They are not loaded, I basically word. She was named after where she was built in Belfast, same boatyard that the Titanic was built in. The Titanic was her big sister. Did a lot better than her sister, obviously. She's still here. Right, now before we start talking about the bridge, don't worry by the way, we're going to go through the bridge, round the bridge. You will get a picture of the bridge from every conceivable angle. Quick look over to the bankside on our right. There's a really weirdly shaped black glass roundish building. Lots of nicknames, the armadillo, the stack of pancakes, Darth Vader's helmet. That is actually City Hall, that's what it's called. It's the old office of the Mayor of London. He moved earlier this year, so now that building is empty and we have no idea what they're going to do with it. Any suggestions? Write to the council. Okay, Tower Bridge. The most photographed bridge in the entire world. Sorry, San Francisco, our bridge is better than yours. It's not as old as it looks. It looks old to blend in with the Tower of London over on our left, looking really majestic at the moment. I'll talk to you about the tower when we turn around, but if you're on my left, it's a really nice angle for a picture of it. It looks great. Yet the bridge only dates back to the 1890s. All this stonework on it, purely cosmetic, does not need it. It is a steel and iron bridge. It has to be, because it's vascular. That means it opens and closes in the middle to let tall ships come in and out. Used to open about 40 times a day in its heyday. Now you're lucky if it will open and close 40 times a year sometimes. Check the website if you want to see it open while you're in town. They have to give you at least 24 hours notice. So if it's going to happen, it will be on there. Upper deck, I need you to wave at Tower Bridge. Try and get a wave back for us. There's a Victorian legend that says if you get a wave from Tower Bridge, the entire boat gets 5 years good luck. So if you'd like to bank some luck for the rest of the year, get their attention, distract them with a selfie, see if you get a wave back. It is rush hour, so they are usually ruder around this time. We sold our last London Bridge to an American gentleman. Robert P. McCulloch paid $1 million at auction for the Victorian London Bridge when it was sinking into the mud. He had it shipped out and rebuilt brick by brick in his home in Arizona. It used to be the meat production warehouse where we made OXO stock cubes and gravy, which are still quite popular here today actually. If you think it says OXO on that tower, you could not be more wrong. That legally says nothing. When they built that tower, it was the 1930s, advertising on the River Thames was illegal. This river was known as a royal highway, which was a nice way of saying the king did not want to see adverts when he was cruising up and down.
वीडियो बनाते हैं फ्रंट ते जाने ਉਹ ਆ ਇਹ ਅੱਗੇ ਫਰੰਟ ਸੀਟ ਆਹੋ ਆ ਜਾ ਉਹ ਚਲੋ ਖਲੋ ਕੇ ਵੇਖ ਲਾਂਗੇ
If you do need anything during the cruise, my colleagues are downstairs, but I am going to kick off because we have a really gorgeous view on our right-hand side of one of London's most famous landmarks. I present to you the Houses of Parliament, the centre of UK government, or to give its proper title, the New Palace of Westminster. The new palace, by the way, because the old one burnt down in 1834. We've only had this one here since 1860. It is not as old as it looks, not by a long shot. We have 3 towers on that palace. We got the Victoria Tower at the back there with the Union flag flying. That's where we used to keep it. That was our very first hotel to have ensuite bathrooms, electricity, working lift. Anyone vaguely famous has stayed there. It's a beautiful building. I don't quite think it justifies the cost, but it is lovely. This bridge here looks a bit boring and nondescript. This bridge has the best nickname in London. You're going to find out very quickly we nickname everything on this river. This is Waterloo Bridge. We like to call it the Ladies' Bridge. And that is because this bridge was built during World War II. Most of our men...